So life is something that, we should balance. We shouldn't be so in love with it, and we shouldn't be so hateful of it, like careless with it, I should say. We shouldn't be so careless with it, but try to be balanced, somewhere in between being a daredevil and a coward. You know what I'm saying?
Of the physical form, and when you die, it's just death of the physical form and birth of the spiritual form. You are an eternal son soul, because God said that He gave His only begotten Son. It wasn't talking about Jesus; it was talking about the Son outside, which is the solar system, and everybody has a soul that resides.
Yeah. Now this. A lot of us are, as Jamaicans too, and black people, we know this, and a lot of us have accepted that the sun, S-O-N, is the same as the S-U-N, right? Because we're like a burning fire, we're energy, and the sun is a fire, it's a source, you know what I'm saying? And we can't live without it. Just as how the Bible would speak of Christ being the Son of God, and without the sun, nothing would have life. You know what I'm saying?
From the solar system, which makes us all God's Son. S-U-N, not S.
Okay, now he's going into the S-U-N and the S-O-N thing. But he said solar system, and we have a soul. So that is why everything connects that sound the same or pronounce alike. Sorry.
And we all are our own individual percentage of the sun.
That is powerful. That is powerful right there. He said we're our own percentage of the sun. We are each individually percentage of the sun, with our soul being a part of the solar system or representing the solar system.
All microcosms of the macrocosm. The macrocosm is the universe as a whole, and the microcosm is the universe broken down in individual pieces. We are all microcosms of the macrocosm.
So you have microcosm and macrocosm. Macrocosm is the whole universe and everything that involves, even us. That is the macrocosm, right? There's the word macrocosm, macrocosm, right? That is the universe with us inside and involved with God and everything, right? And there's also micro, microcosm, right? Microcosm. That is now where we are individually energy different from the universe. You know what I'm saying? Everything individually, every energy, right? That's the microcosm. And you have macrocosm. Now, this guy has a book where he's getting all these things from. And I've read books like this that came from prison in America. And I spoke about these things on my channel. Some of y'all may come across them, and some of y'all will eventually, and some probably won't.
Everybody is the universe experiencing itself in the physical form, and the universe is God. You're just a...
Okay, so we're all experiencing life in this physical form, right? And we've been explaining that. But we also will experience life continuously, even outside of this body after we pass, because he said we live to die and we die to live again. You know what I'm saying? Let's get on. I got a lot more things to say. I'm just waiting for him to start the context. I woke up this morning, was born in Kingston and leaving Jamaica abroad, not to England. This is my page, and the first post here you seeing. Look a nigga stop talk. Pussy them a keep a axe off in a frag of me dog them fully advanced. Black money, black card, rich like who little nigga stop talk. Pussy them a keep a axe off in a frag of me dog them fully advanced. It's leprosy. Yeah. Don't bag of money. Yard one a foreign. Game me bird can't tame so me stay same way like me daddy. Black money, black yard, rich like who little nigga stop talk. Pussy them a cap a axe off in a frag of me dog them fully advanced. Black money, black yard, rich like who little nigga stop talk. Pussy them a cap a axe off in a frag of me dog them fully advanced. We advance academically and professionally, extraterrestrially and even medically. Sell we to everybody, take the molly, superfragically, list PSPally, sexually, get the dolly ben reality. In every alley, genitally make Beverly see. Up I do nally, then be clearing that them off me. No go tell Rivali, anti-valley no mediocrity. Black magic, watch fraud. Get a black puss with a black dog. A mad sus, when mad dog. I de left a bad push with the cash card. Money, black yard, rich like who little nigga stop talk. Pussy them a cap a axe off in a frag of me dogs them fully advanced. Black money, black yard, rich like who little nigga stop talk. Pussy them a cap a axe off in a frag of me dog them fully advanced. Yes, that's right there. You see me? Tough a lie, bad. Yeah, people. Yo, y'all need to watch this. This is the most important video ever in your life. Believe me. This is the most important video, message, information one could ever hear. Right? Or one of the most important, because this pertains to our creator of the universe and life itself. You know what I'm saying? And what could be more important than those? You know? Nothing. So this is about that. All right? Now let's get to the base of all of it, okay? Okay, so I believe that this is a prisoner. When I'm looking at the background, right? And with the attire of the guy we're looking at here, right? I believe it's a prisoner. And this is why, you know, God loves the prisoners, evil men that have done evil things. Because as I always say, good becomes evil a lot of times and evil becomes good. You know, and as our grandparents, as Jamaicans, we were mostly taught that what has not died, do not throw it away. Once it has life, there is importance for it to stay, right? So the prisoners, they have all the time on their hands to get to know the most important thing. They have all the time in the world to study and research about any and everything, right? Out here in the free world, people have to be focusing on working and, you know, sustaining themselves, living in the system where, you know, they care not about us. And I mean, like, this is why God must love a lot of people who have done evil, right? And we know that the prison is not all people that are evil. Some are just being accused and fail to prove themselves innocent, right? We know how unlawful and how unrighteous the system and the leaders and people in position, you know what I'm saying, concerning law enforcement, where, you know, people are petty and, you know, they accuse and place false allegation on people. So we know that prison is not just for people who are guilty of committing evil atrocities, right? Now, let me read this post because I have a lot to say, and we just want to get it said as fast as possible, right? And this video is quite long, okay, and lengthy, so we need to try to get everything going, right? Now, this post is from a account that, or the username, authentic underscore content underscore, right? Yes, that's the name of the username for this page that have posted this video with a seemingly prisoner, I would assume, right, who is going to share with us some of the most important knowledge that everyone should know. Okay? Now it's read, the post read that every individual is an expression of the universe. I hope you understand that. Every individual is an expression of the universe. Well, to me, that means that we are like a force, right? You know that we're built from atoms, you know what I'm saying? Like we're just small particles that form together, cluster together, and we're a mighty force, and individually, right? But we're here for a purpose. And the purpose is from the expression of the universe. You know what I'm saying? Yes, it's that energy that it puts out, and it's not us that lead ourselves. You know, we are being led. But the thing is, a lot of people, they're lazy, most of us, and they don't want to use their life to do the right thing. They want to take the life that we get from God, the expression of the universe that it states here, right? They don't want to do what they're destined to do, a lot of people. So they just want to live comfortable and said that is it for them, you know, just like for most of us who believe that we should all just get married and live a happily life and, you know, try to help a few beggars in the street, because a lot of us think that giving money to a few beggars makes God smile. So they settle for that life thinking that God is all pleased and all right with their life, because mankind, your people, and I myself, and most of us, we believe that our life should be as how we really want it to be, when there's a greater purpose. And most of us do know that there's a greater purpose, but because we're lazy, as I said, why people just want to limit themselves and limit the life they live. And one of the main conditions that stop people from going the extra mile to do and live as they're destined to do, one of the conditions that hampers them from doing what they ought to do and doing more what they know they can do. You know, what stops a lot of people from doing that is the perception from others and what others think. Because people think that it is good to give to the beggars in the street. And that is why a lot of people who classify themselves or think that they are good people or God people, right? That is why they are so comfortable thinking that, okay, I'm just going to get married and live this peaceful life and give to some beggars in the streets or some people who are begging, you know. And it's like, they think that that is okay because they're living from their understanding that they lean on, you know, and we know that we should not lean on our own understanding, but to push things further, try to question ourselves, you know what I mean? Because people, they don't love the hard work, you know what I mean? And the fact that people believe that it is okay to give a beggar, that is why a lot of people who are evil are comfortable to give to beggars, and it will deceive you. They will deceive you and have you thinking that they're good people because you witness them giving some beggars in the street. But they know that they get looked upon as good people doing that. You know what I'm saying? But there's more to life. There's more, way more goodness, graciousness that we should do, especially the good deeds the good deeds that would cause people to look at you crazy. Those are the good deeds that a lot of people won't do, right? Because that is it. Why do you think we've got people who would go viral, right, when they get caught in the street in camera giving to the homeless and sharing to the homeless. Why do you think a lot of rappers and a lot of cloud chaser do these things? They video record themselves giving to the lesser needy or the poorer class of people, because they know that people are drawn to seeing those things, and people will love you and respect you and cherish you for doing something like that. But they don't genuinely, for some, they don't genuinely do it. But that is not the problem. That is not what we're talking about here. We're talking about here what God expects from us, and the universe and that big bang. Because it seems that we were really made from that big bang, but it was also caused by God himself as well, and the universe which was created. Because the thing is, we're all a force, and we're like inside of a physical world, which is why we seems physical. But our real selves is the mental and spiritual state, and our soul, right? That is connected. The mind is like it controls the spirit. Notice when you dream, and anything you think about in your dream, you could do it. Like in your dream, you could think that you would fly, and you could fly right off in your dream. Right? And I know for some dream, we are bounded by our thoughts as well. Like we're so afraid to just jump off of a building in our dream because we're so affected by the physical world we're in. But we need to learn to let go in our dream, because that is power. And remember, it's very hard to die in our dream. It's almost impossible to die in our dream. You know what I'm saying? I've heard about stories of few people who had died in their dream, but there's no substantiating facts or figure to say that, it's factual. But with great level of intelligence and with patience, then the right information will reach us around at the right time for us to know whether it's true or not, if people really can die from having dreams. And we're not talking about heart attack here. We're talking about, like a mental getting damaged mentally and spiritually just by dreaming. Like, let's say you're dreaming that you are on top of a building and you want to fly off, but instead of flying, you fell to the ground in the dream and you die. And there are some people who believe that you would die in the real world as well, right? And that's what I'm saying, that I'm not sure how that really goes, but the rumor is there. But this video provides us with so many information about dream reality and the whole mental and spiritual state of us as beings and our soul, and God and the universe. Now let us continue to read this paragraph, right? Now it says, every individual is an expression of the universe or God, okay? Or God. Okay, so yes, or God, there's no full stop. So let me read it from top again. So every individual is an expression of the universe or God experiencing life through human form. And that is easy to accept as truth, right? Because we're all told and learn that the Bible, teaches us that we are all one and God is within all of us, right? So we're all God experiencing life through a human form, right? So that is easily acceptable because we're taught that as children. And we know a lot of people accept these knowledge when they were kids, but they grow to deter from it and to divert or to, there's another word I was looking for, divert or whatever. I'm not getting the right term now, but there are people who were taught the right thing or accepted certain things as kids, but then they grow to, swerve or to go and believe other belief system that they change to, But I still believe that we're all God experiencing life through the human form, but we do have our free will, right? And I don't want to say much. I want this video to say it all, because all of what it's saying was what I had believed when I was a child reading the Bible. Well, no, not really when I was a child, but some of it, yes, when I was a child, I was taught a lot of this. But some of the main core things, right, was when I was in my teenage years, right? My mid-teenage years, you know what I'm saying? Was when I really started to study and to learn about the main moral and theme of what this post here and video is teaching us. You know what I'm saying? Because when I was much younger, as I should have said, instead of saying when I was a child, when I was much younger, these are the same things I was learning and I believed in. You know what I'm saying? And I had deterred from focusing on that road to going down that path. You know what I'm saying? Because life was hard, and, you know, from leaving from your parents' roof to becoming your own man was a challenge within itself. And, you know, sometime in life, you have to put aside what God wants you to do and focus on setting your life. If you want to, you know, have the life that most of us are comfortable with. And that is why our life is not or should not be perceived from our own understanding, but from what we know what God wants us to do with our life. And this is not a Christian thing or a Muslim thing, or no, it's way more important and way more meaningful. You know what I'm saying? It's way more magnificent, way more purposeful, and way more appreciative by God, right? Once we focus on what this video and this post is bringing to us, you know what I'm saying? Which I agree wholeheartedly, 100%, 1,000%, a million, infinity. Okay, so yeah, so it says we're all God experiencing life through human form, because remember, God lives within us, okay? And we must, that is why it's very important we try to be as truthful all the time. And if we slip up, we try to better ourselves all the time. That is so important. We should never get comfortable and just be okay and thinking that we're good and God loves us because we only share our wealth and we live peaceful and we have our wives and kids and that is all right and that is it for life. No, life is about taking righteousness a step further each time you conquer and better yourself. So if you know that you have anger issues sometime or you're a moody person and now you're focusing on getting rid of that bad mood so you can treat people and talk to people and deal with people very better, then you try to move on to fixing that part of you and becoming more righteous each day, researching yourself, trying to find the flaws and fixing them that would make you more righteous. You know, but people are not like that. People are like, I just want a wife, and a wife just want a husband and kids and just live and protect ourselves from the outsiders, and we'll share with just a few people, beggars, and, you know, they think that's it. No, God expects more from us, and he deserves more from us. That is it. He deserves more. The universe deserves more, and the earth deserves more love and attention, affection and appreciation from us. Okay? And we need to become as righteous as can be. We need to become so righteous to the point where people will think you're crazy. That is where you reach a level where God will love you. You know what I mean? And I'll explain later on in this video that level of righteousness. All right. So it says every individual is an expression of the universe or God experience life through human form. We are not separate from existence. We are existence experiencing itself consciously. So it means like, okay, so we're here for a purpose and we're not, human form, this form that we're in, it is really no different from our spiritual form, but it's just that this is the shell that we need in this existence, in this world, this physical world called earth. You know what I'm saying? But we have that spirit that leads us, because we need something to drive us, just like a car. You know, there have to be a driver inside of it. There's a fire and there's a force and an energy that drives us, you know, and that's the existence of the universe inside our shell, this body. You know what I'm saying? So we are existence experiencing itself consciously, right? The physical world is temporary, right? But the spiritual world is never ending, right? because the temporarily we must pass one day. We must pass and go back to the earth, to the dirt whence we came. And I noticed that since I started to cover this story here, this video, a lot of the biggest rappers are going live that I would want to quit my video to capture their life, you know what I'm saying? But I gotta ignore them. It's the test, because God and the universe want y'all to see this. It wants me to cover this story and break it down the way I'm breaking it down. Okay, now it says the physical world is temporary, almost dreamlike. Yeah, viewers, so the physical world is temporary, right? It's just temporary. So we must pass this flesh back to the earth, but our spirit will still be alive continuously, and our conscious mind or subconscious mind, that mental power of thinking and thought and seeing things, we will always be seeing ourselves moving, you know what I mean, and experiencing things even after death. So the physical world is temporary, right? Almost dreamlike, right? Constantly shifting and dissolving, right? Because, you know, the spiritual world and the physical world, you know, we have to align, and it's crazy. You're going to definitely understand everything. So it says that the physical world is temporary, almost dreamlike, right? Which is right, because we have dream, and the physical world that we live, the things we think of, we bring it to reality in this physical world. So a lot of us think about the business we want to have, and we bring it into the physical world, right? So it's almost like a dream-like, as it says, because anything you think of, it can become a reality, okay? From the mind and the heart and the soul and the spirit inside. You know what I'm saying? So which almost dreamlike, constantly shifting and dissolving, which is why attachment to material identity often creates suffering, right? When you attach yourself with the interests of vanity and luxury and all that wealth, right? It comes with a lot of suffering. You know what I mean? And this is why people like Vybz Kartel is the most successful, because he wasn't focused on money, right? He was doing the hard work, focusing on doing the hard work, finding the songs, you know, helping people, to putting them on, and he get his reward, right? That's how the world is like. Now listen. So it says, which is why attachment to material identity often creates suffering. Controlling your thoughts matters because consciousness exists beyond mental noise, right? Beyond mental noise. So yes, you can use your thoughts, right, to materialize things, to create things, to manifest things, you know what I'm saying? And controlling your thought is where the most important thing is at for us to know to do. One of, you know what I'm saying, is to control our thoughts and try to make it a positive thought. Try to keep a tight security at the gate of our mind where all the thoughts process. You know, try to filter it so that the tongue will only speak good. Like our artist that is named Shells. Go look up that artist. His name is spelled with 3 S's. Shells. S-S-S. 1 capital S, 2 common S, common H, E-L-L-Z. Right, Shells. He has a song called Speak Good. Go check it out. Very beautiful song, sounding like water, like the seashells at the seashore. Now, controlling your thoughts matters because consciousness exists beyond mental noise. You are not every thought you think you are. No, you are not every thought you think. You are the awareness observing them. Okay, you get that? So not every thought that comes to your mind is really us, you know? Like they said that the Bible say a man is what he think. But we are here to filter its it's imperative or a must that we filter our thoughts to purify ourselves, right? And once we practice that as many times and perfect it, then we will be able to be free. Our mind can be free from all negative thoughts once we continuously keep a tight lid, a security at the gates of our mind where all the negative and positive thoughts come through. You know what I'm saying? Just like a child, you have to constantly correct them or else they'll get spoiled and behave bad, right? You got to constantly correcting them, you know? Now, this says, where are we? Okay, so you are not every thought you think. You are the awareness observing them. The deeper you understand yourself, the more you recognize the connection between all living things and the greater intelligence moving through reality itself. And that saying is from Wilson Adam III. Metaphysical, hashtag spiritual awakening, hashtag higher consciousness, hashtag esoteric, hashtag self-mastery. Now, these are the things that we should all be studying and aiming towards. A higher level of consciousness, right? Spiritual awakening, right? That's the spirit inside of us. Bring it alive, make it more powerful, try to tap in with it, you know? And metaphysical, yes, because in this physical world, you know, in this world and in this city, you know, it's not about just the money. It's about God and doing good and being righteous. Okay? Now, we're going to kick this video off, all right? And you'll see, you'll learn so much. And I'll try not to cut it or interrupt because I've already spent 30 minutes yapping. Okay? So I hope y'all are learning. Okay, listen.
The real world is when you're dreaming or when you're meditating or when you open your eye up. Because let me show you how this is just a dream right here. Because everything that you do down here.
Okay, so he said the real world is in the mind when you dream. When you dream and you see yourself flying and doing all the impossible, that is our real self. That is our spirit that is inside. Right? And he said, once you're able to open this eye up, the third eye, right? That is when you make one with the spiritual and the physical, right? And your mind is what you use to do that. That is why the eye is here, the third eye. So I hope you all are understanding, you know, that the real us is the spirit. And just as we fly in our dream and we do as we think, anything we think of in our dream. If we want to jump all the way across 3 worlds, we could do it in our dream. That is us. That is the real us. This is not the real us. We're trapped in a physical world here. You know what I'm saying? Maybe because we're born in sin. You know what I'm saying? So this is not the real world because we're limited. We can't access our full power like how we can in the dream state. Right? And that is real. When you're dreaming, that world you're seeing is real, right? And you're even swimming, you're moving in your bed. If you're swimming in a dream, you're actually moving. But, you know, you're actually moving so faster in your dream that if we can align that spiritual state with the physical state, and that was a journey I was on when I was much younger. But then I fell short of the glory of God, because I had to focus on working, getting my own place, you know, becoming someone. So now I've seen where the universe is showing me, and I'm going to take some accountability, that the universe keep bringing me back to that teenager state when I was on this journey of focusing on doing all righteous, trying to defeat death, you know, like Elijah, because that was my main motivator and the story from the Bible. You know, I still believe that we can all defeat death. You know what I mean? Once you chase righteousness to the level where people will look at you crazy, but God would look at you with so much love. You know what I'm saying? Of how you think and use intelligence. And that is why I always be saying that it takes a great level of intelligence to be the most righteous. Right? Because most people are lazy, who you hear calling themselves Christians or good people of God people, or, you know what I'm saying? Because they limit their good deeds. They don't want to do the goodness where people would be like, what? Why is he doing that? I'm not doing that. I'm not dying for no man. I'm not dying for no person. You know what I mean? Yeah, that is them. You know what I mean? But people who put their life on the line for others, for strangers, I've done so many times before. You know what I mean? And I speak about these things on my channel. You know what I mean? And people who claim that they're good and that they're Christian, they love their life so much. They don't see it being normal if someone risks their life to protect someone else. You know what I mean? Even a stranger. And this video is showing you that God is still within all of us. We're all one. We're all God. You know what I'm saying? We're all one force, just in different bodies.
You have to bring it to life out of this bubble that's in your head. As above, so below. So within, so without. So every thought that you get is coming from up there, because this is just the vehicle of ascension. This is just the vehicle that God travels in. Everyone.
Our body is just the vehicle that God's traveling. You heard that? Yes. So we have to try to think righteous and more righteous, extremely righteous, and chase righteousness all the way. And once you're on that road, then you can defeat death, like Elijah, Melchizedek, and quite a few others. Enoch, that never seen death, you know. And the book of Enoch went into detail saying that Enoch was greatly more rewarded than Elijah and the others who God had took to heaven without them having to experience death, because they had conquered death. But Elijah was God's favorite because of his intelligence and his way of perceiving to be righteous and chasing righteous, doing righteous, becoming more righteous. You know what I'm saying? That is power within being righteous.
And it's the same person in different bodies. That's why it tells you in the Bible to love God with all your heart, your mind, your body, your soul, and your strength. You feel me? These are two greatest commandments. And love thy neighbor like you love thyself, because thy neighbor is you. Your neighbor is not the person, not the house next across the street. Your neighbor is the person that is living in the house across the street. So you got to love the person that's living in the house.
Yo, and that is so hard to do, trust me. But you know what? I'm going to take on these tasks and I'm going to try to love everyone. Because this was the journey I was on when I was younger, in my mid-teens, right? But because, you know, I got kicked out of the house, I had to batter around, I had to seek jobs, I had to struggle to survive, you know what I'm saying? So that kind of took me off the road of the righteous path I was on and trying to stay on. You know what I'm saying? I spoke about times where my mom would check on me in my room late at night, and she would see me she would see me reading the Bible late at night, and she would turn off my room light because, you know, there was a little teenager against parents type of thing, you know, and I wasn't accepting the Jesus thing, you know, and she never liked that. So, you know, I got kicked out a few times, and, you know, that specific detail though about her turning off the light because she come see me reading the Bible. I was deeply interested in righteousness, you know, and knowing the truth for myself, not to be told, you know what I'm saying, but to use my own intelligence and to try to grasp and analyze things for myself. You know, and my mom would turn off the light and I would turn on my flashlight and be reading the Bible up at night. You know, so I spoke about these things in previous vlogs here on my channel. So as I'm saying, this is no joke. These were the things I was attracted to, interested in, and had the zest for. You know what I'm saying? Now let's continue with this.
That's just like if you see a car going up the street. The car is not driving itself. Somebody is driving the car. So if you see a person walking up the street, that person is not walking themselves. It's something inside that is walking that person. So whenever the soul leaves that body, just like have you ever been to a funeral?
Now, Yeah, he's going to tell you about at the funeral where that energy that leaves the body can't move anymore, right? And when you look at it, it makes perfect sense that we're all God. You know, our time temporary, as what we read in the post, you know? So without that driving force, that energy of life source, you know, of God, that spirit inside, without that, we are that vehicle that is parked up, you know, and can't move. So that's what he is basically telling you. And but the spirit is still alive. It's just not in the body anymore. But that being is still seeing things and have moved on. You know what I'm saying? Because it's energy, it's a light source. The light.
The body doesn't move anymore because the soul has left and the body went cold. So anybody that you're talking to, you're having a conversation with God, whether you realize it or not. So that's how God did.
Yeah, and this is why they say love conquer all. Because a lot of time when good people, good gracious God people are in the midst or speaking to evil people or giving an evil person advice, this is why it touches them so much. But a lot of time the evil people, depending on the level of evil that they have attained and have claimed to themselves, depending on the level of evil that they are at, they may not adhere to that feeling of affection that they get from your love and the good righteous message and advice that you're giving them, but it affects them, you know, greatly. But a lot of evil people, they find it easy to not be inspired by what should inspire us all. You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
Itself inside of every human being, because God is a cosmic force. God is incomprehensible to the average human being. God is a supreme intelligence that created 8.1 billion people so it can experience its creation through
those people. And as he said, God is an incomprehensible force, right? And people, they lean on their own understanding, as I'm saying, but we're all getting the same feed and frequency and signal from that main source out there in the universe. Those are the bright ideas we all get to better ourselves. And this is why I'm telling you that a lot of people, they are just lazy and they just want to use their life just to live their life the way that they find more easier. Right? Easier. That song. Life is so easier. One more time. You know? But yeah, people just think that getting married and just settling and having kids and just loving my kids, just checking for my kids, when everyone is family of your kids. We are family of your kids. You know what I'm saying? We're all one. So you just loving your kids and caring for your kids and for two beggars out in the streets, is God is not pleased when he knows that you can do a lot more. You know what I'm saying? Yes.
Through the birds, the bees, the leaves, the trees, and everything. And the only reason why God created them is so God won't get stuck in the physical.
He said God created all these things so God wouldn't get stuck, or we wouldn't get stuck in the physical world, or maybe God, because God is in everything, the animal, the insect. And this is the level of righteousness I want to get at, because if you read the book of Enoch and other great books about where life had begun and some deep knowledge, you know what I'm saying, that knowledge seekers seek out for, these books, and even some books that would go into detail about the individual that the Bible refers to as Joshua. One of the great things about Joshua, what it says, I remember, if it served me correct, where there's knowledge about Joshua and how righteous he was, and he would carefully look where he placed his feet when he walked or wherever he is, because he doesn't want to crush or step on any ants to end their life. This was how righteous he was. And people would look at Joshua as a crazy individual. They're like, yo, Joshua is crazy. This guy, he doesn't walk just anywhere. He makes sure that there's no ants underneath his feet where he's placing them on the ground. And these are the level of righteousness we should be able to bring ourselves, and increase it further into something that would appear as madness to the normal or the regular mankind or human being. You know what I'm saying? We need to take righteousness to the extreme so we can conquer death, because we don't have to die. I promise you that. I always believe that. You know what I'm saying? And once I had started to gain the interest and, search and read through books of righteousness and for the sake of righteousness, I stopped fear death a long time ago. You know what I'm saying? Trust me, no joke. And that's the power. That is power right there, and that is righteousness, power, and intelligence.
Because death is just illusion. You live to die, and when you die, you live. When you're born, it's just death of the spiritual form.
Yeah, so he's saying we live to die and we die to live. And this is why we shouldn't fear death, because kids die who just born. And when I look at things like that, I remember when I just started to have sense and to realize that you have kids that died as they're born and even before they were born, and I realized that I could have not been so fortunate, so life is something that, we should balance, we shouldn't be so in love with it, and we shouldn't be so hateful of it, like careless with it, I should say. We shouldn't be so careless with it, but try to be balanced, somewhere in between being a daredevil and a coward, you know what I'm saying?
Of the physical form, and when you die, it's just death of the physical form and birth of the spiritual form. You are an eternal son soul, because God said that He gave His only begotten Son. It wasn't talking about Jesus; it was talking about the Son outside, which is the solar system, and everybody has a soul that resides.
Yeah. Now this. A lot of us are, as Jamaicans too, and black people, we know this, and a lot of us have accepted that the sun, S-O-N, is the same as the S-U-N, right? Because we're like a burning fire, we're energy, and the sun is a fire, it's a source, you know what I'm saying? And we can't live without it. Just as how the Bible would speak of Christ being the Son of God, and without the sun, nothing would have life. You know what I'm saying?
Comes from the solar system, which makes us all God's Son. S-U-N, not S.
Okay, now he's going into the S-U-N and the S-O-N thing. But he said solar system, and we have a soul. So that is why everything connects that sound the same or pronounce alike. Sorry.
And we all are our own individual percentage of the sun.
That is powerful. That is powerful right there. He said we're our own percentage of the sun. We are each individually percentage of the sun, with our soul being a part of the solar system or representing the solar system.
All microcosms of the macrocosm. The macrocosm is the universe as a whole, and the microcosm is the universe broken down in individual pieces. We're all microcosms of the macro.
So you have microcosm and macrocosm. Macrocosm is the whole universe and everything that involves, even us. That is the macrocosm, right? There's the word macrocosm, macrocosm, right? That is the universe with us inside and involved, with God and everything, right? And there's also micro, M-I-C-R-O-C-O-S-M, right? Microcosm. That is now where we are individually energy different from the universe. You know what I'm saying? Everything individually, every energy, right? That's the microcosm. Microcosm. and you have macrocosm. Now, this guy has a book where he's getting all these things from. And I've read books like this that came from prison in America. And I spoke about these things on my channel. Some of y'all may come across them, and some of y'all will eventually, and some probably won't.
Everybody is the universe experiencing itself in the physical form, and the universe is God. You're just a...
Okay, so we're all experiencing life in this physical form, right? And we've been explaining that. But we also will experience life continuously, even outside of this body after we pass, because he said we live to die, and we die to live again. You know what I'm saying? Let's get on. I got a lot more things to say. I'm just waiting for him to start the context.
Being having a human experience, because you are not this body. All this is a physical dream. When you are in your spiritual form, like when you dream, everything that you do down here, you have to act it out. You see, you have to bring that thought out of your head and you have to act it out.
All right, this is so powerful. Now, in this world, in the reality world we live in right now, which is the physical world, right? We have to think to move, right? And then we move, right? And we have to decide on moving like that. But in the spiritual world, just like the dream, you think about flying, you take off right away. You know what I'm saying? Fly away, Peter. Fly away, Paul. Come back, Peter. Come back, Paul. You know what I'm saying? So as the man thinketh, it happens.
World, which is the spiritual world, because this world is backwards. It's 90% physical and 10% spiritual, when it's supposed to be 10% spiritual.
I think he made a mistake here, right? He's saying that this world we live in, is 90% physical and 10% spiritual. And he continues to say that it should be, and he said 10% spiritual again, but he should have said 10% physical, right? And 90% spiritual is what he should have said. But he's gonna say 90% physical again. Listen. He just now said 10% spiritual, just as he said before, and he's going to say 90% physical, which he said before as well. So it's completely a mistake, a slip up. It happens to me when I vlog sometimes too, and when I watch it back, I realize that I slipped up.
90% physical, because everything goes on in the inside. So down here, everything that you do, you have to act it out. But when you dream, the only thing you have to do is thinking, and you go do it in your astral body, because you're just thinking it, because it's the real world. And the dreams is way realer than this down here. You see, this right here is nothing. Yeah, if somebody hits you, it feel like it hurt. Yeah, you can feel somebody, because this is just the physical world. But the real world is when you open this up and you can travel. You can travel because you have, I'm going to show y'all how this is the body of ascension. So you're in
astral projection, I think them call it, right? A lot of people are on that topic now. Astral projection, you know, it's like traveling spiritually through using your mental.
I don't need the book, but I like to show pictures, because they say you have to see it to believe it. But in actuality, you don't have to see it to believe it. All right, this is the body right here. I'll show you. All right.
Yo, this book, very powerful. I've read books like this. Trust me, it seems so similar to books that I've read with same, context and content and, you know what I'm saying? All these things.
Merkaba. You see, Mer equals light. And remember I showed you, look, you got a triangle going up and you got a triangle going down. We are Mer. Mer equals light. We are electric.
Okay, now, as I told you before, I have quite a few things that I wanted to say, but I was waiting for him to start it, right? Now he's showing you the term Merkaba, right? Because in every language, every word is broken down meaning something as what it pertains to, just like in English, right? When we name our planes airplane, because it travels in the air, obviously. And you know what a plane is? A plane is like a slope. You know what I'm saying? And that is exactly what they're telling you. So this is in every other language, whether Hebrew, Chinese, every term that is broken down means what it says. You know what I'm saying? So here he's showing us the term Merkabah, which I think is Hebrew, right? Which means body. He is telling us like a person, a body that is actually alive, a living body. Now he's breaking down the term scientifically, showing you that Mer means light. And that is that light energy inside of us that burns because we need heat. And that is from the sun, right? While we are the sun, right? The first thing that God made, right? Now look, the ka means spirit, right? And the spirit is the spirit inside. We all need a spirit. That is like a energy, right? Yes. And then you have the body, right? Because the spirit is like the soul, basically, you know? And then you have the body, which is the physical form that we are inside of, you know? Because this is not me you're seeing. This is just my shell, my outer appearance, you know what I'm saying? So yeah, as I was saying now, what I wanted to say is that light. Look, light is key to, light is the key to defeating death. Because when you become light, remember, light travels very fast, right? Light. And remember, John 3, God said, let there be light, and there was light. So maybe God is light. You know what I'm saying? He is definitely light. He's light because your soul, your spirit is light. You know what I'm saying? And light could travel through anything. You know what I'm saying? Because you're light. And look at the similarities. Light could shine through anything, a glass, or break through the dome. You know what I'm saying? Travel through the universe. That's light. And when look at another term of light, when you have something heavy and something light, like a lightweight, you know, and in order to be like light that travels light speed, you have to be light instead of heavy, right? Now, this is why I Show Speed is so blessed, because the name, the speed, and speed is very important, just as a light, or becoming a light, or shining bright as a light. You need speed to even become light. So if you're even heavy and you're running fast, the speed will allow you to become lighter than the weight that you actually are. Right? And that is connected to our spirit. So we need speed to become light, right? And we need to become light. Because we were once light before we got here and became physical. Now it's time. The main purpose for us is to become back light. Just like Elijah had became light. Enoch had became light. They had broke through the dome, right? Through the glass. They had broke it because they were light, and light shine through glass. You know what I'm saying? And light travels at light speed. You know what I'm saying? Like I Show Speed. God loves I Show Speed. You know what I'm saying? So this in order to conquer death. Because as I always say in my vlogs, that the main purpose of life is to live, to have your parents appreciating you, right? And we're talking about every parents you got, even our Almighty Father, the parent that created us, right? And God give us earthly parents to create us, right? But He was the one who had made us, and not we ourselves. He is the light. He is the light, right? And we can become light just like Elijah, Enoch, and Melchizedek, all right? But we got to do it through the sake of righteousness. In order to become light, we must be right. And in order to become light, we must have might, strength to continue to do righteousness, right? And this strength is not the heavy strength. It's not that gym muscle heavy strength. No, it's not that to lift up as many bar and to be so heavy and strong and mighty. This might is a spiritual might that is like light. And this is the might that you need to not allow people perspection. What is the term? People perspective, right? Don't allow them for you not to become like Joshua, who carefully watch where he steps just to avoid from unaliving ants and any creatures of God. You know what I'm saying? Because Joshua value every creature, even the ants. So he had the might to care not for what many people would say about him being crazy. He had the might to go about living the life to please the Almighty, the Almighty. You see the connection? You need the might to become like the light, and you need to be right, which is righteous, to become light. So we can all transform from this body to becoming like light and travel through the glass dome like Elijah and God's favorite. That is who we need to impress, our parents, the Almighty Father and Mother Nature, right? And once you become like light, you can master time. Time have no effect over you. Time, if you travel like light, time have no control over you. You can stop here for 1,000 years and just boom, travel like light for another 25,000 years. And time won't be able to catch up to you. You are ahead of time because you're traveling light speed. So that is, I found the key of life. This is the key, guys. I hope you're understanding. But listen to what he's saying.
Magnetic light means Ka equals spirit. Spirit means breath. If you go to John chapter 4, verse 24, it tells you God is spirit, and those who worship him to worship him in spirit and truth. Equals body. So this is the vehicle of ascension that God's travel is. As above, the triangle going up, so below. Look, vehicle of ascension. Watch, I'm going to show you how this is hell on earth. Now, neutralizing the duality. Duality means doing two things at one time. Physical world, spiritual world. This is the physical world. Your soul is the spiritual world. So, duality yourself combining the upper and lower self. You are a soul that experiences different realities within the multiverse. In each plane, you take on different bodies. You aim to become the multidimensional creature and not to be bound to just one reality, which is the...
And that is what Enoch had done when they had practiced righteousness for his name's sake, right? They became so powerful, right? They were never trapped in the physical body. That was how powerful they became from doing and practicing righteousness with intelligence. You know, and either one brings one. It's if you focus on being righteous, it will bring intelligence for sure. Righteousness will bring intelligence much more faster to any and everyone, faster than how intelligence will bring righteousness. That means that if you are not intelligent, but you want to be righteous to God and think righteously, you will develop a great level of intelligence the more you try focusing on being righteous. You know what I'm saying? But if you are intelligent and you're quick at learning, but you are not fond of doing the righteousness or, you know, practicing righteousness, then it's going to be harder for you to get to God by just having intelligence. It's quick for you to get money and to get to riches and wealth, but not to God. But it's a possibility, you know, because people are called and some are chosen.
World. Just like I told you, the last planet that you go through when you come out is Saturn. So you come here as the devil, but you have to deveil yourself because this is...
That is so powerful too, because we are born in sin, right? So we come here as the devil. We're born in sin basically, and we have to practice righteousness and aim and focus so much on becoming so righteous in order to deveil. And I never even knew. I think that I'm familiar with this term deveil, but it sound as if I'm familiar with it, and it doesn't seem new to me, but it's so powerful. We're born in sin and we must practice righteousness. It is the main thing to do with your life. Practice righteousness and trying to become more righteous and more righteous. And it brings intelligence, for you to bring peace and to, inspire many others and love others. You know what I'm saying?
World. You have an etheric body, you have an astral body, and you have a mental body. See, the physical world is so dense, you are matter. The purpose is to turn the matter into light.
Yes, and that is why we're not really here to die. We can all conquer death, because this is the purpose of life, right? You have the mental, the astral, the etheric, right? Or some would say esoteric, basically similarly the same, and the physical, right? And it's all about leaving from the physical to becoming like light, right? Yes, to becoming light or like light.
Up here to light, because God is light. You see, God is light. You see, Genesis chapter 1 verse 3, let there be light. We live inside a light wave universe where all things are created out of light. Low vibrational light turns into matter. High vibrational matter turns back into light. Universal 1 by Walter Russell. God.
Okay, so you see that? Once you're practicing righteousness and you keep that security, once you keep that tight lid security at the gate of your mind where all the thoughts come, each time a negative thought come, you get rid of it. You think something positive, get rid of it every time it comes. And that is how you shape your mind, and it shape you as well, and your physical can align with the spiritual. You know what I'm saying? For you to become like light and fly and conquer death. I strongly believe this was the path I was on in my teenage years, and I had believed this. It's strange that it's coming back to me. It's all coming back to me. It's all coming back. Yeah.
Is thinking mind. The substance of the body of God is light. The universal substance is a thinking substance. Comprehensible and describable and possessed in principles which are familiar to man through man's observation of the one universal substance is created things. The substance of all created things is light. The one substance of thinking mind is all exists. Mind is expressed in light. So what did I just tell you? Hue man. What best defines hue? The attributes of colors that permit them to be classed as red, yellow, green, blue, and intermediate between contiguous pairs of these colors.
And I had learned about this already, that when the colors all come together, this is the color you get, especially with red, gold, and green. You know what I'm saying? Yes, you get the human dark skin
with an orange hue. So look, when you put all those colors together, you get brown. So you have 9 ether and you have 6 ether. So listen, now I'm going to break down to you how the reality works. Look, as a human, we are an attribute of a color that permits them to be classified that specific color. Each individual is the mind, not the physical body. Without the mind, a physical body world would cease to exist. The mind is spirit. The mind.
You see that? So the mind and the spirit is aligned. That is why in the dream state, what you think, you do it. You know what I'm saying? You think to fly. I believe I can fly. I believe I can touch the sky. Yo, if I was R. Kelly, I would be flying at this point, at this moment. I couldn't be locked up. R. Kelly, after R. Kelly sang that song that went so big, it should have caused a lot of us to can fly. But I never really was a big fan of that song, which is why I can't fly. But if I was a big fan of that song, I would be Yeah, guys. So I won't say that I never liked the song or I wasn't a fan of the song. You know, I was a child and I'm still a fan of the song. But when the song was new, I was very young. You know, I was young enough to understand somewhat of the song. And I understand that a lot of people had loved the song, right? And I definitely also understand that the song was done in a fashion where it should be appreciated. But I just wasn't a big fan of all them singers. You know, I was more for the rappers and the ones not I wasn't a fan of the singing type, not much singers I was lauded for of, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, if I think the reason why R. Kelly wasn't able to fly because he's famous, he was a famous guy and still is. So he is going to be, you know, as what the Bible says, that it's much harder for a rich man to make it to enter the gates of heaven, than it is for the camel to go through the eye of an eagle. So you know that it's very hard for a rich person to see God, right? And that is because they're so focused on the wrong things because of wealth. You know what I'm saying? But there's so much things to be focused on, like focus on God and not just what your wealth can have you, or can get you to experience. Because most people who have money, they get lost and deter from the real destiny and purpose of life, just as I did when I felt as if I had to go seek a job and try to get my finance in order, because I was getting fight at the home and me and my mom thing wasn't working out, you know what I'm saying? So yeah, it was crazy, man. So if I was a major fan of R. Kelly and that song, I think I would be flying by now. But with positive thought, I do believe that we can fly in this physical realm. You know what I'm saying? Yes. If we put our mind to it enough and practice good and righteousness, we'll definitely fly.
Intellect that manipulates the physical body and the world around us. The mind is like a frequency tuner. Watch this now. Look what it says.
That is so powerful. The mind is like a frequency tuner, just like a radio work when you tune the radio to another station. But the thing is, something out there feeding our mind all these things that passes through the gates of our mind. You know what I'm saying? So that is the tuner, but it is what you chooses to tune into and to allow to play in your mind. That is what you become and what you draw on and attract. You know what I'm saying? That is so powerful. Our mind is like a tuner for the universe, with good and bad energy.
Tuning itself into different frequencies. Now listen to this now. The mind exists within the mental plane, which is shared between all the minds of the universe. Thoughts are not created by...
And that is why so many of us are alike. We think alike because we're tuning in to certain frequencies. We're aligned. You know what I'm saying? Believe.
The individual, they are received based on what frequency our mind is set to. If we set our mind to a specific topic, like generating wealth, for example, we tune into the frequency in the mental plane and we will receive thoughts on how to generate wealth. So, frequency.
So we will generate what? Generate thoughts. Keyword. Once you think about wealth, then we will generate the frequency of thoughts that is out there in the universe that will help us to become wealthy and rich. So that is how our mind is like a tuner to the universe and the information that it brings to our mind, the universe, This is awesome. Awesome.
So if you frequently think about sex, money, cars, clothes, drugs, the thing that you see, what happens is those are the thoughts that you get in return. See, I tell myself, I am the infinite intelligence of the universe. I am the mind of God. I am love. I am joy. I am peace.
I am the I am. I am whatever you say I am. If I wasn't, then why would I say I am? In the paper, the news every day I am. I don't know, that's just the way I am. I'm so sick and tired of being admired that I wish that I would have drop from my label and stop with a fable and top of my name at the top of the game is, hey!
I am abundance. I am happy. So those are the thoughts that I send out, and those are the thoughts that I get in return. Remember, everything is controlled by the mind. So you have to control your thoughts, but don't let your thoughts control you. So when I send those thoughts out to the universe, I get those thoughts in return. So all the information that it's telling me to do, I act it out, and then I bring it to the physical form. You see? I bring it to the physical form because everything is a manifestation of a thought. The thoughts come from above, and we're down here below. As above, so below, so within, so without. God is consciousness that speaks to you telepathically through the brain. Experience. The real world is when you're dreaming or when you meditate.
Yes, it start all over, guys. So I'm gonna chop this shit up right now and get it out to y'all. I hope I have enough space because this one's gonna be huge. Hey. Yeah.